So what you're about to see in this shocking upcoming clip is going to make you think, holy crap, and that's the nice way of putting it, because this is utterly absurd. Check this out.
For the first time since March 2021, inflation has dropped below 3%. Consumer prices rose just 2.9% compared to last year. Inflation clearly retreating from the peak of just over 9% 2 years ago. And prices for airfares, used cars, and apparel are falling. And inflation at the grocery store has improved dramatically. But weary Americans like Jennifer Bryant from Arkansas say they still aren't feeling it.
I haven't noticed that.
That's because falling inflation does not mean falling prices. Grocery prices still up more than 20% over 4 years. Housing up 22%. Home insurance up nearly 15%. Auto insurance rates up 50% from 2020. It's hard to know when the public's mood improves. Wages, after all, have been rising faster than inflation for 17 months now.
I mean, seriously, can the lies and the gaslighting get any worse? Grocery prices and home prices only up 20% in the last 4 years? More like 100%. Or how about that absurd comment at the end of the video clip where they've been saying wages have been outpacing inflation for the last 17 months? That is complete nonsense, and I'm going to show you how ridiculous these bogus reports are coming up, especially when it comes to buying a home. What's going on, my YouTube friends? This is Jerry Abbott, your #1 real estate resource here in beautiful Las Vegas. Hey guys, a couple of real quick things before we dive into the video. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to learn the cold hard facts about the US economy, the US real estate market, and specifically the Las Vegas real estate market, then make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. Number 2, if you happen to like the content in today's video, make sure to press that thumbs up like button, guys. That would really help the channel out. And number 3, if you are thinking about relocating to beautiful Las Vegas, whether it's next month or next year, I've got your back. I'm a local real estate agent here. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I know every inch of this city. When that time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. Let's dive into the video. Now, regardless of these bogus media reports, we all know things are horribly expensive across the entire economy, especially when it comes to buying a home. Now, since my content is focused on the overall real estate market, and specifically the Las Vegas real estate market, I want to put things in perspective for you coming up. So take a look at this recent headline. The average person now has to make about $50,000 more per year than before the pandemic just to comfortably afford a home. So let me ask you a question. Do you make $50,000 more per year than before the pandemic just to be able to comfortably afford a home? I would venture to say that 99% of people do not. Or how about this headline right here? Teachers would need to make double the amount that they're making right now just to be able to afford the typical home. This is what's so frustrating, because the government and legacy media companies continue to gaslight the public when we all know that the majority of people have been crushed by inflation, especially when it comes to buying a home. Just take a look at these 2 upcoming map graphics and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about regarding the entire housing market and how it's completely unsustainable at this point. All right, so let's first take a look at this US map graphic, because this shows every single state in the country and what the average median home price is in each state. Now, if we take a look right in the middle part of the country, you can see that the blue colored states show the least expensive homes. When we get to the north and the south, that's more of a yellow colored. That's when the prices start to go up a little bit more. And then when we get to the east coast and the west coast, that's when the colors go more red, which shows the most expensive homes in those particular states. All right, so let's just jump around the country a little bit here and take a look at a few of the states. If we go up here to the northeast in New York, the average median home price is $649,000, but right underneath it in Pennsylvania, the average home price drops all the way down to $268,000. If we go to the southeast in Florida, prices in Florida for the average median home price right now is just over $500,000. If we go over here to Texas, $336,000. Down here in Hawaii, that's a pretty big number, $715,000. If we go to the Northwest, $646,000 in Washington. And then the most expensive state is California, coming in close to $800,000. And then right next door in my state, in Nevada, the average median home price now is at about $480,000. Now, when we look at this map graphic here, it actually doesn't look too bad in certain parts of the country. But what I want to show you in the next graphic is this same kind of map, but instead of attaching the average median home price, I want to show you the average median income. And that's where there's a very dramatic difference in terms of what people can afford in terms of median household income compared to these home prices. All right, so now let's take a look at this map graphic. You can see right at the top, this is the median household income by state. Now, if you look just above my picture there, the top 5 states for median household income are the following: Maryland at $87,000, New Jersey at $85,000, Massachusetts at $84,000, Hawaii is $83,000, and Connecticut is $80,000. All right, so I zoomed in on the map because I want to show you 2 particular states. I want to show you California, and then I want to show you my state of Nevada, just to show you how completely unsustainable this housing market is, in my opinion. So when we look over here in California, we see that the average household income is $78,000 a year, but the average home price is 10 times that amount at nearly $800,000. If we go to my state right next door, Nevada, the average household income is $62,000, but the average median home price now in the Las Vegas real estate market is $480,000. All right, so let's just stop and think about this because a lot of people don't know this. In a normal real estate market, the average income usually was about 3, maybe 4 times less than the average home price. So in the state of California, if let's say you're making about $80,000 a year in household income, if you multiply that times 4, you get a little bit over $300,000. That's a normal real estate market in terms of income versus home prices. In Las Vegas, in the Nevada area, if you're making $60,000 and you multiply that times 4, you're looking at about $250,000. So again, that's a normal real estate market in terms of incomes versus home prices, but now it's much, much higher than that. In California, it's about 10 times that amount, and here in the Las Vegas, Nevada area, it's about 8 times that amount. And anytime we've ever seen 7, 8, or 10x levels in terms of income versus home prices, the last time that happened was in the 2008 crash. So again, this just proves how unsustainable this market is because people simply do not earn enough income just to afford the average home prices. And it's not just in California or Nevada, it's happening across the whole country. Now, here in the Las Vegas real estate market, you can see right next to me that home prices are about to hit record highs. But here's the thing a lot of people are not talking about. Take a look at this image right next to me. These are the monthly housing inventory levels that are steadily climbing over the last 5 months here in Las Vegas, almost 40% higher. This is a telltale sign that the real estate market, especially here in Las Vegas, is starting to change. And as you're about to see, there are a lot of homes right now that are massively overpriced that are being reduced heavily. All right, so if you guys follow my channel, you know that I usually go to the popular real estate platform Zillow near the back half of each of my videos, just to show you a few examples each week of Las Vegas homes for sale, starting in the luxury category and then working down closer to the average price point to show you one of 2 things, either massive overpricing or massive price reductions that are happening on a lot of homes that are happening here in the Las Vegas real estate market. This week is going to be no different. I want to start off by showing you guys one of the most exclusive homes in Las Vegas and show you the ridiculous pricing of this particular home. You can see on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed for $19.5 million. It's a 6-bedroom, 11-bath, 15,000 square foot, super ultra luxury custom home. But again, down below, I'm going to show you the crazy roller coaster ride that this home has been on in terms of price points. So let's take a look at that right now. All right, so this home has a huge roller coaster ride through a long history in terms of the price points and how much it's varied. So let's do this. Let's take a look at the highlight down here in blue. Down on the bottom left there, the date says 3/13/2018. So I'm only going to go back about 6 years, even though this home has a longer history than that. This home was sold for $13 million. But here's the thing. If we take a look at the date right here, just above it, it says 6/24/2020. So a little bit more than 2 years later, this home was listed for sale for $25 million, or basically a 100% price increase. They weren't able to find a buyer, and then take a look at the number just above it. They reduced it down an immediate $5 million. So it went from $25 million down quickly to $20 million roughly. They weren't able to find a buyer, and then for whatever reason, they raised it right back up to $24.5 million. And then they had a contingent offer at it, about $25 million almost, but it fell through. And then ultimately, right at the top there, you could see it sold for $17.5 million. All right, so we're not done just yet, but let's just pause for a second. Again, take a look at the blue highlight at the bottom right. This home sold 6 years ago for $13 million. But here's the thing. They tried to make a $12 million profit by trying to sell it for $25 million, and they were ultimately not able to do it, and then they ultimately sold it for $17.5 million. So in that course of time, they sold it for a $4.5 million profit, even though they were trying to make a $12 million profit. But again, this is where the storyline continues with this particular home. So down in the blue highlight, this is the most recent sale of this particular home. A little bit more than 2 years ago, in June of 2022, the home sold for $17.5 million. But look at the date just above it. It says 1/8/2024. So 18 months after they bought this home for $17.5 million, they once again tried to list it for a massive $24.5 million. And again, there was no buyer because, again, this home is not worth that kind of price point, even at this super high-end luxury level. And then look right at the top here, they've reduced it down again to the current list price of $19.5 million. That's another $5 million reduction over the last few months because, once again, at this luxury level, these sellers are trying to get massive price points. These are not really even true value price points. They're just trying to find a very wealthy buyer. And even wealthy buyers are smart enough to not take the bait and just buy the home because that's the list price from the seller. Now, I know this is a ridiculous example because I know 99.9% of people will never be able to afford a $20 million home, but I like looking at these luxury examples because it makes me chuckle every single week because there are so many examples of this in Las Vegas, whether it's a luxury home example or an average price point example. Sellers, for the most part, in this real estate market are just purely delusional to think they're going to get these kinds of list prices because we're seeing, not just in the luxury market, but as you're about to see when we get to lower price points, that these homes are massively overpriced and overvalued, and they're ultimately closing at a lower price point. All right, so just for fun and entertainment purposes, let's just take a look at one more luxury Las Vegas home for sale because you're not going to believe how much of a roller coaster ride this home has been on for the last few years. So you can see on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed at just under $12 million. It's a 7-bedroom, 8-bath, 9,000 square foot custom luxury home. But let's go down below and take a look at the price history because this is really pretty shocking. All right, so once again, take a look at the blue highlight at the bottom of the screen. Down on the bottom left side of that highlight, the date there says 11/16/2020. So that's almost 4 years ago. That was right when we were getting into the peak part of the pandemic. This home sold for $7.4 million. Now, if we look at the date just above it, it says 10/2/2023. So almost 3 years later, not even 3 years, they listed this home for sale for $15 million, or basically a 100% price increase. They were not able to find a buyer, and then they went through subsequent price reductions, as you can see just above it. They dropped it to $14 million, $13.5 million, $12.9 million, and now the current price right now is just under $12 million. So I find these luxury Las Vegas homes for sale very entertaining to look at because I think most of these sellers are completely out to lunch. They are delusional in their price points because just think, in this particular example, the buyers of this home bought this home 4 years ago for $7.5 million and then just decided to attach a $15 million price tag on it 3 years later. Now, thankfully, not even a wealthy buyer was foolish enough to buy it at that price point, and it's now dropped down about $3 million from that original price point. So again, it just goes to show you, whether you're a luxury buyer and you're in the top 1% or you're an average price point buyer, none of this real estate market makes sense, especially the Las Vegas real estate market. And you're going to see more examples of that coming up with lower price points because, again, this market is not really showing true value. These sellers are trying to get these fantasy land prices, and it's not true value. You got to make sure that you just don't bid on a home just because the seller wants that price for the home. All right, so now let's take a look at this third example of a Las Vegas home that was for sale a few months ago. It closed back in March of this year. You can see right next to my picture where I'm highlighting that with the small red box that this home closed for $705,000. But more importantly, I want to show you the price differential of when this home was built, which was in 2022, what they originally tried to get for the home, and then ultimately it closed at $700,000. So take a look down on the bottom right, that blue highlight. The date right down there says 2/1/2022. That's when the home was sold by the builder for $591,000. But then take a look just above it. This is when they listed it for sale to hit the actual marketplace at $964,000. So it went from $591 to $964. They were not able to obviously find a buyer at that ridiculous price point. And then as I scroll up here, you can see these price reductions. $880, $843. They kept it at $880 again. Then they went to $850, $815, and they kept lowering it, $799, $759, and then when we scroll all the way up to the top here, right there, $705,000 was the actual closing price. So now here's the thing, the comps in this neighborhood, because it's a brand new community, they're comping out at about $700,000. There's only one home in this community that was close to $800,000, and that was a larger lot with a pool. This home does not have that, so this home sold for $700,000 after they originally tried to get $950,000 for it. So it closed at a $250,000 price reduction ultimately, because again, you do not, if you're a buyer, want to just bid on a home because a builder or a seller wants that kind of a price tag for it. That does not mean it's true value. You've got to do due diligence before you make an actual bid on a home. All right, so let's take a look at this fourth and final example of a Las Vegas home that was for sale that closed at the beginning of this year in 2024, because again, I want to show you the price differential. You could see right next to my picture where I'm highlighting that with that red box, that this home closed in January of this year at $547,000. But if you take a look down on the bottom right in that blue highlight, when we look at the date on the left side of the highlight, it says 7/8/2022. So that's about 2 years ago, where this home was originally listed for sale for $625,000. Again, way too high, not true value, so they started going through price reductions. So they started dropping it. As I scroll up here, $620, then they dropped it $585, $583, $565, and it kept dropping until right there, right underneath my picture there, you could see it sold for $547,000. So now this is not even really an expensive home compared to the previous examples that I showed you, but there was still a $78,000 price reduction from $625,000 down to $547,000, and it took almost 18 months to sell the home because, again, the sellers were far too aggressive on the original list price. And the reason why I keep showing you guys these examples, whether it's a luxury example or an average price point example, is because if you're patient and you wait things out, that's been the common denominator when I see all of these examples on websites like Zillow, and I see dozens and dozens of them every single week, especially here in the Las Vegas real estate market, that if you're patient, in many instances, these homes are not going to close for the original list price. There are tremendous reductions that are going on. So even though home prices across the country are near record highs, we're finally starting to see that shift, in my opinion. Inventory is steadily climbing. Homes are now being massively reduced or closing at much lower prices than the original list price. And it's not just happening here in the Las Vegas real estate market. There's examples that come in every single week from the people that are watching my videos. And I want to show you a few of those just to show you the full changeover that's now happening across the country in the overall real estate market. So Ed wrote in, I am living in Chicago and our neighbor sold a $400,000 house about 2 months ago, and now it's available on the market for $900,000. Susie wrote, my neighbor up the street has a house on the market for over a year. They've dropped the price over $100,000 and it's still sitting. Wages haven't kept in pace. This is in Northern Nevada. New housing prices are also decreasing. And this last comment is from Mr. Diver. I live in San Diego. I sold my house 1 year and 9 months ago for $1.3 million. It's on the market as of last week for $1.15. That's a $150,000 loss for them. And they put a new roof and new patio cover on, cost about $30,000. So whoever says prices are not going down in San Diego are liars. So I want to hear from you guys. I want you to drop me a comment down below. I read and respond to all of my comments. So I want you to tell me in your neck of the woods where you happen to live, if you're seeing homes sit on the market longer, if you're starting to see large price reductions, and let me know what's happening in your neck of the woods. And my favorite comment from this week's video, I'm going to give a direct on-screen shout out to in next week's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I also hope you appreciate my transparency. You know that I'm always going to keep it 100% real on this channel regarding the economy and the real estate market. So here's my very simple advice to you guys if you're thinking about buying a home. Don't do it right now if you don't have to. Wait things out. Wait until after the presidential election, until we get into 2025. I think there's going to be some economic turmoil. That's why the Fed is getting nervous and they're going to cut interest rates next month. And I think it's going to backfire. I don't think it's going to raise prices for homes. I think it's going to lower them ultimately, especially as we go into 2025. So if you can wait things out, that's the best option in my opinion. Again, I know everybody's circumstances are different. Some people can wait things out. Some people are looking to buy sooner rather than later. If you are thinking about buying a home, especially here in the Las Vegas real estate market, I've got your back. I'm a local real estate agent here. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I know every inch of this city. When that time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. I'll see you guys in the next video.